Alrighty, it's checkpoint 11. So we have a rectangle that has a perimeter that's represented by 6a minus 2, which means that this whole rectangle, if I add up all four of these sides, it will equal 6a minus 2. And I want to know which expression represents the sum and length of the width of the length and width, meaning I only want to know one of each. So I'm only looking for like this side here and this side here. So since there's 2 of each side, all I have to do is divide both of these by 2, which will give me 3a minus 1. That's how you do that problem. Maria, right now we're going over checkpoint 11. Natalie, do you have questions on this one? No? Okay. Are we good to go to the next one? Perfect. Second one. The perimeter of a square is represented by the following equation. And we want to know, what does the 2x plus 3 represent? So if I have a square, right, a square has 4 equal sides, and each one of these sides has this 2x plus 3 on it. So the reason why our equation here has this 4 on the outside is because there's 4 of the same sides, right? I have 4 of the same sides that make up my square. So this 2x plus 3 in the middle would represent the side of the length of each of the sides. Square. I said square. All right. Next one. Let's see. Which method can be used to find the final price of an item with cost X when a 9% tax is applied? Okay, so if you are buying something at the store, right, and say the item you're buying is $9, or sorry, say the item that you're buying is $1. When you go to purchase it at the register, with tax included, is your total going to be more or less than that $1? Like if I'm like, here's this $1 candy bar I want. Normally the cashier will say, all right, your total is like $1.12, right? So would our total be more or less, including tax? It'll be more, right? Which means that here we're talking about an increase in price. So if you think back to that video I have for lesson 11, whenever you have an increase in your price, you have 1 plus your percent, and your percent has to be changed to a decimal first. So here I'm going to have 1 plus 9%, right? And like Natalie has 9% as a decimal is 0.09. So I'm going to have 1 plus 0.09. And if I add these two together, I get 1.09. So we want to pick this first one here, and then this very bottom one. So where we're multiplying x by 1.09, and then we find 9% of x and then add it to x. And Natalie, your answers might be in a different order, so let me know when you're ready to go on to. Perfect. Next one. The following equation represents a percent change on the value x. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. How can you describe this in words? Okay, well, I have a subtraction sign in between here, right? So if I have a subtraction sign, is that representing an increase or a decrease if it's subtraction? A decrease, perfect. So now I'm looking at the two answer choices that are talking about a decrease. And this one says a decrease of 42% is the same as multiplying by 0.58. And this one says a decrease of 58% is the same as multiplying by 0.58. Well, we'd want to choose this one here because this 0.42 is my percent, right? So I'm talking about a 42% decrease. All right. Oh, this problem. So many words. Stacy and Melissa work as waitresses. They both earn $7.75 per hour plus tips. Last week, Stacy worked X numbers and earned $153.95 in tips. Melissa worked Y numbers and earned $129.02 in tips. Stacy determined that using the expression blah blah blah, it will calculate the amount the girls earned together last weekend. Select another expression the girls could also use. Oh, okay. All right, so let me copy this here. I'm going to try my best. I'm not going to be able to fit it all in one line. I'm going to have to put this plus 192 at the bottom. Oh, 129. Perfect. Okay, so if we look at all of our possible answer choices here, they all have this 282 at the end. Do you guys know where they're getting this 282 at the end, or how they're getting that with this expression that we have here? They're adding, right? They're adding this term right here. They're adding the tips that they get. So this and this will give us that plus 282.97. So this is where they're getting that. They're adding these two. Now we have this 7.75x, and we have this 7.75y. So since these have different variables, right, this has an x and this has a y, can I add them together? Are they like terms? No, right? So, but what we can do instead is we could take this 7.75 out because they both start with the same number. And inside, I could have an x plus y. And what happens here, this is what we did was we just factored out that 7.75. And if we were to check it, we could multiply this 7.75 back in. And when we do that, we'd get both of these terms up here that we have. So we want to pick that 7.75 with parentheses x plus y and then plus 282.97. Add a next one. A rectangle has a length of x plus 2 and a width of x plus 1. Which equation correctly represents the perimeter of the rectangle? Okay. So for these problems, I always like to draw a picture so I can kind of see what I'm looking at here. Here's my rectangle, a length of x plus 2 and a width of x plus 1. So that means since this top side is x plus 2, that means this bottom side has to also be x plus 2. And this is x plus 1 because it's a rectangle, right? So opposite sides match. So it looks like I have to add up all of these together. So I'm going to have x plus 2 plus x plus 2. And I'm going to have x plus 1 plus x plus 1. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. And I have 2, 4, 5, 6 plus 6. So this is going to be the perimeter, right? And there's only one of these equations that has that 4x plus 6 at the very end. Natalie, do you have a question on how I came up with that? I kind of went through it quickly. Or if you want, I can go back and recap what I did. Gotcha. Yeah, don't forget that you have to pay extra attention to all the numbers, right? Because we're adding four numbers together, but these two here are twos. So I'd have 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1. Just have to be extra careful, especially when you have so many numbers that you're adding together at once. All right. A hardware store is having a 15% off sale on a lawnmower this weekend. If the original price, X is the original price of the lawnmower, what will be the final price excluding tax? Okay. Well, if it's a 15% off sale, right? If a price of something is going on sale, would you expect it to be more or less than the original price if it's on sale? Less. Perfect. Which means here we're talking about a decrease. So do I want to add or subtract my 15%? Subtract. Perfect. Don't forget your 15%, you need to change it to a decimal. So I'd have 1 minus 0.15. Perfect. And when I do 1 minus 0.5, it looks like I don't have to figure that out, right? Because none of the answer choices have that. So this one here, that x minus 0.15, this one works. And same thing with this one here. We have that 1 minus 0.15. And number 8. A fruit seller earns a 40-cent profit for each apple that it sells and a 40-cent profit for each banana that it sells. Which expressions show Sam's total profits for selling A apples and B bananas? Okay, well, how much money does he get when he sells an apple? How much does he get for each apple he sells? 40 cents, right? So 0.4A for apple. And he's also earning a profit for bananas. How much does he get every time he sells a banana? 0.4 again. Perfect. So this one down here, this one works because that's exactly what we have here. And then remember that problem we did earlier, talking about the waitresses and how much they earn. Both of these start with a 0.4, right? So if I take that 0.4 out, then all I have to do is write what is left, which is this A plus B, which is how we get this one up here. Right, and number 9. Which expression is equivalent to 1/2 times 4m minus 2n plus 4? Right. So 1/2 times 4m minus 2n plus 4. Okay, now for this problem, I don't know if you guys know this, but whenever you are distributing a fraction, right, technically I need to do 1/2 times 4 and 1/2 times 2 and 1/2 times 4 again. Anytime you have a fraction that has a 1 in the numerator, so a 1 up top, all you have to do is divide each of your numbers by the number in your denominator. So essentially what I'm doing to each one of these problems is dividing each number by 2. So I would have 4 divided by 2m, 2 divided by 2n, 4 divided by 2. So this gives me 2m minus n plus 2. And if that step right here, me going from here to here, confused you, remember you can also just type in to Desmos 1/2 times 4. Or if you want to see another example with different numbers, I can show you another one really quick too, if you want to see it again. Okay, perfect. Number 10, use the equation to answer the question, which value of k makes the equation true? Oh, this one's like that one in your workbook. Okay. So I have 2 over 3 times 9a plus 18b. And I want to know, I have 6a plus this k and then b. So the first thing that we want to do here is let's distribute this 2/3 to everything in here to see what number we get in front of our b. So to do that, I'm going to pull open Desmos because we can't use that same trick I just told you guys because there's not a 1 in the numerator. So if I have 2 over 3 times 9, I get 6, and 2 over 3 times 18, I get 12. So I have 6a plus 12b, which means, right, if 6 and 6 are the same, what does k have to be? 12. Exactly. Perfect. All right, number 11. Which expressions are equivalent to 6a plus 8b? So on these fun ones, all that we have to do is just distribute everything here to see if we get 6a plus 8b. So let's start at the top. Remember that when you're distributing, you're taking the number outside and multiplying it to everything inside. Right, so 2 times 3 gives me 6a. 2 times 4 gives me 8, and then b. So this first one here works because I have the 6a plus 8b. Check the second one. 4 times 3 halves a plus 8/3 b. What a lovely one. Clear these out. So I have 4 times 3 halves and 4 times 8/3. Ooh, so this one is close, but it's not exact. So I do have 6a here, but then I have this 10 and 2/3 b. So the second one won't work. Let's try the third one. I have 4 times 3 halves a plus 2b. Well, I know from this first one that when I do 4 times 2/3, I'm going to get 6a because that's what I have up here. And 4 times 2 will give me 8, which is what I'm looking for because I'm looking for that 8b, right? So I want to pick that first one. So 2 times 3a plus 4b. And then 4 times 3 halves a plus 2b. Number 12. Chelsea, were you okay with that one? I know that was one of the ones you had to fix. Okay. A rectangle has a perimeter that's represented by 4x minus 8. Which expression represents the perimeter? All right, so I have yet another rectangle. Right, and when I add all 4 of these sides up, I'm going to get 4x minus 8. Okay, so if you were to take all of the right side of your expressions, right? So I'm looking here at this 2 times 2x minus 4 and 4 times x minus 8. If you were to take that first term and distribute it to everything inside, you are looking to get this 4x minus 8. So I'm actually going to get rid of that square. So if I look at the first one, whoops, 4. If I distribute my 2, I get 4x minus 8, which works, right? I'm going to try the second one just to show you why the second one doesn't. So if I have 4 times x minus 8, remember that you have to distribute your 4 to everything inside, so not just the first one. So this would give me 4x, and then 4 times 8 would be minus 32. And this minus 32 is not the same as minus 8, which is why that one doesn't work. So the equation that we're looking for is this one that has the 2 times 2x minus 4. Alrighty. Which expressions are equivalent to 4m plus 4n plus 10? Aren't these ones just your favorite? Okay. So on this one, again, we're just going to have to distribute everything and see which ones work and which ones don't work. So let's start with the first one, going from the top. 4 times m plus n plus 5 over 2. This gives me 4m plus 4n plus, let's see what that number gives us. So 4 times 5 over 2 gives me 10. That first one works. This first one works. This is a check. Let's try our second one. Well, actually, if I look at the second one here, I know this one right off the bat is not going to work, right? Because if I have 10 times 6, that gives me 60, and that is not 4. Dustin, right now we're going over checkpoint 11. This is checkpoint 11, yeah. All right, so the second one I know won't work. Let's check the third one, where I have 4m plus 2 times 2n plus 5. Now, on this one here, remember, you're only distributing the number that's directly outside of your parentheses, which is this 2. So I'm going to have 2 times 2, which gives me 4n. 2 times 5, which is 10. My 4m comes out front. This one is the same as this one up here. So this one is good. Check a mark. This one here, remember that 2 is being distributed to everything inside, right? So if I have 2 times 10, that gives me 20. And I'm looking for a 10 at the end. So this one here won't work either. This fifth one here, now this 4, I'm only multiplying to m and n, which will give me this beginning part. But this plus 10 at the end, I won't be able to ever get that, because I have this plus 5 over 2 here. So that one can't work. So let's check the very bottom one. Okay, 4 times m plus n plus 10. Distribute my 4. My plus 10 comes down. This one will also work because I'll have the same exact expression. So I want to also choose this bottom one. Dawson, I'll when my session's over, I'm going to save the video and then upload it into the course, so you can watch this as soon as I have it uploaded a bit later this afternoon. Natalie or Kelsey, do you guys have questions on this one? There's 3 right answers on this one. 3 I have on this page. Yeah. 14. Gosh, another one? Oh my gosh, why is there 8 answer choices? We want to know which expressions represent a decrease of 12% on the value x. Okay. So we're talking about a decrease, right? So am I going to be adding or subtracting 1 from my percent? Subtracting, perfect. And then my percent, I need to change to a decimal. Whoops. So I'd have 1 minus 0.12. Now, 1 could also be known as x. So there's a few different ways you could write this. When you are looking at these different answer choices, because there are so many, there's a few things that you can look for. The first thing you want to look for is, well, which ones are subtracting, right? This top one is subtracting, but if I look at this number, this is a decimal, 0.12. This is a whole number, so I don't want to pick this one. The second option here, I'm adding, not what I want. This third option here, now this one is correct, and you have that 12 over 100. If you were to take 12 and divide it by 100, you get this 0.12, which is the same as what we have here. which is why this one works. This 88 does not work because if I do 1 minus 0.12, I get 0.88, right? So 0.88 is not the same as a regular 88. This one here won't work because you're adding. Same thing here, this 1.12, I don't ever get that anywhere because I'm subtracting. And then these bottom two here would also be correct because I have that 0.88, which is what I get when I subtract them. And then this bottom one here looks exactly like the expression that we have written here. So there are the 3 correct answers for this one. Natalie, are you good with this one? Okay. And then number 15. Irene is opening a lawn equipment rental business. She does not know how much equipment she needs to purchase, but she does know the cost of the equipment, and it's shown in the table. Okay. We want to know which of the following expressions represents Irene's total cost to purchase her equipment. We want to select 3 that apply. Okay. So it looks like for each trimmer, it's $195. For an edger, it's $195, and for a mower, it's $295. And amount to purchase, we have these variables here. So this 100 that they're throwing in here. Oh, I understand now. Okay. So if I wanted to purchase one trimmer, my one trimmer is $195, right? So I would have 195x. If I wanted to purchase an edger, it's also $195. And if I wanted to purchase a mower, that is $295. So I would have plus 295x. Actually, sorry. Let me write the right variables because that would probably be helpful. A little bit. This is Y and then this is Z. Okay, perfect. Alrighty. So when we look at all of these answer choices, remember that if I have the same number here, like this 195 and 195, I can pull that out and have an X plus Y inside. Okay. Now, these ones, I think the easiest way to solve this problem here is to kind of do what we've been doing before and just distribute and then see if when we add it all together, we get this expression here. So this bottom one, it looks exactly like what we have. So that one works, okay? The one underneath that. So again, I can take out this 195 from both and then write what's left inside of my parentheses. And then this plus 295, D is left on the outside, which is why this bottom one works. Now there's one other one, and the one other one is probably the most trickiest to catch. And the other one that works is this one right here. And I'll show you why that one works. So if I have 195 times x plus y plus z, and then this plus 100z at the end. If I distribute my 195 to everything, x plus 195y plus 195z plus 100z, these two terms right here, I can add together, right? Because they're like terms, they both have the same variable, which means this expression right here is the same as my starting expression. So for this answer, for this problem, we want to pick this one I have highlighted here, and then these two also on the bottom. So the one that I have written in purple plus these two. So Chelsea, you were very close. This one is definitely tricky. But then you're good to submit once you have this done.